Hello everyone, welcome to Doc's Custom Corner tonight. What you see in front of you is kind of the start of a new segment. I've got a couple cars sitting here that I'd like to pull out and kind of talk about. I mentioned it before that I wanted to kind of do a segment or a playlist for survivor cars. Now, how many of you have ever gone to a swap meet, saw a car that was just too cool that you just had to pick it up? Some of you may have ideas to take it home and hack it up. Some of you may have the idea of just leave it alone and just preserving a piece of history. I've done that quite a few times and quite a few occasions and quite a few different cars. The one you see in front of you is one in particular. I saw a gentleman online that had this and he was offering it up for trade. So I made him a trade deal and got it, had it sent to me. My idea was take it apart, kind of make a retro hot rod out of it. And once I got it, the more I kind of got to looking at it, and I kind of started thinking otherwise. I've got quite a few cars that are out here in the garage, kind of boxed up, put away, because I don't have a lot of room to display a lot of stuff. But this one I got it home and changed my mind on cutting it up, pulling it apart and changing it out. I like the lines of it. Doesn't have any headlights on it. I don't have any headlights. I had a 58 Ford. I was going to try the headlights in there, but the 58 Ford headlights are a little bit too big for the front of the Mercury here. But I guess for those of you that don't know, this is a 59 Mercury. I guess I could have said that a little bit, but I think it's a Park Lane or script up on the front there. It's a little bowed. You can follow this trim right here. It's got a little bit of a wave to it. Of course, the older plastic back then did a lot of wonky stuff. The deck lid here across here has got a little bit of a dip into it, double dip in the fin here, but it's just a cool looking car. I've always liked the big cars of the 50s and 60s, and like I said, when I got it home, I changed my mind on cutting it up. I wanted to just leave it alone. It'll be a shell piece here at the house, nothing more than that, but maybe some years I can find the headlights for it, throw a couple pair of headlights in it, whatever. But so my question for you all is how many times have you done the same? Gone to a swap meet, saw something that was just too cool to pass up, and you paid the price or whatever it was and brought it home just to keep it as is and preserve something cool, preserve a little piece of history. That's kind of what the 34 is in the background here too. This was bought at a swap meet. This has been hiding back here. This was bought at a swap meet, I don't know how many years ago. It's just too cool. I just like the look of it. So I bought it and brought it home and left it as is. Still kit plastic. It's not painted at all. That's the color of the plastic. Then the black, of course, has been painted in, but flathead engine in it. But it's all just, factory, the kit colors, whatever, kit plastic. Oh, cobwebby from sitting on the bench all these years. Been sitting back on the bench back there for about 2 years now. Had to put it back together again. It's kind of blown apart when I got it. So now, I got another question for y'all. I'm going to pull this one out here in a minute. But how many of you still have your very first ever glue-together model kit? I still have mine kind of quinky-dink enough, but I used to build, when I first started out building models, I used to build 1/32 scale snappers. Built the semi-snappers, the 1/32 scale snaps. I mean, that's what I started out on. Had a friend of mine that was a little bit older than I was. He's the one that kind of cemented me into my model building. My dad, growing up, was a modeler, and I've got I don't know, 6 or 7 or 8 of his cars up here on the shelf too, that he gave me before he passed on. But so I've got some of my dad's cars to kind of keep a memento of him. But back then, my friend of mine who got me into delving into the different stuff of modeling, not just building right out of the box. He would build a lot of hot rods and change things up a little bit. Did a lot of kit bashing before kit bashing was cool. And he kind of got me going down the path that I'm on now. The car that I'm going to pull out, like I say, is my very first ever glue together. And I got another little cool idea or a cool thing, side note on this car when I get to it here, but I'm going to pull it out for you here in a minute. And this is my very first glue ever glued together. It's a little dirty, a little gnarly, a little, I don't know, but this is the way I did it back then. I want to say it's a 64 or 66 Mustang. Pretty much out of the box. My buddy of mine that did the, got me going on this a little bit more than what I was back then. He had a lot of extra parts because he's already been into glue together probably a year or two before I was. And he had the tires and wheels and the engine parts. He talked me into putting all that stuff on there and hot rodding it out. I was just going to build it box stock, but he wanted me to do a little bit more hot roddish, so that's the road I went down. Decals, I think, came out of the Datsun Wrecker, I think, if I remember right. Must like pinstriping back there, I think. Got a lot of pinstriping on it. Got the headers and glass packs, I guess, if you want to call them that, on it. Except for the headers, I don't think are going to do much good. They're not even connected. But yeah, we did it back then. Missing the mud flap on the back. Pop that off. That's the engine in it. Kind of thinking the engine might have been changed somewhere along the line or along the road, because I don't remember that being the original engine I stuck in there. It's got a Chevy engine in it. That and it's not blue. Well, it's got the Mustang block on it, though. Who knows what I was thinking back then. But now another little side note on this. A buddy of mine, I don't know how long ago, told me, it'd be cool. He said, this is the way you built back then. Got the speaker in the back window, too. Remember doing that as a kid? Put the 6x9s up in the back window. Hit the brakes really hard and they fly forward and hit the person in the back seat in the back of the head. Been there, done that before. Great memories, huh? But another friend of mine had an idea to do something with, along the lines with the same car. He said, this is the way you built it back then. Wouldn't it be cool to take and find another Mustang and build a car like you would nowadays, now that your skills have improved and, so on and so forth, and things, have modernized, whatever. He said, how would you build that car today? And this is probably, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 years ago, maybe even longer than that. He said, how would you build that car according to what today's standards are back, X amount of years ago? So I got to thinking of it and went out and found a kit, brought the kit home and started working on it. Cut the trunk lid out, I'll open up the trunk lid and I'll show you here in a minute. I'll go around a little bit for you. But this is the Mustang I built according to what I thought, the standards would have been back then. Same kit, same body. Oops, go the other way here. But it's built on a Pro Street chassis versus just having a big tire sticking out like we did back in the day. Initially, I wanted to paint this car the same color as a Scoop with a white top on it. But no matter how I tried, I could not get the paint to lay down, and it kept bubbling up on me. And I'm like, forget it. It was something to do with overlaying this turquoise over top the white. I don't know. They're both enamel paints, but I don't know what happened. But I gave up on the idea, threw it in brake fluid back then, and stripped the paint off of it and repainted it this color. But maybe some year, if I get ambitious enough, I'll pull it apart and repaint it. But it's kind of nice because this is kind of a survivor in its own right from 10 years ago or so. But, so who knows? I may just leave it alone, or maybe I can just build a third car. What would I do with it now? Always an option, I guess. But the transmission, chassis in this thing, I think, is out of the T-Bird, the Matt and Debbie Hayes T-Bird kit, the pink car in the box. Engine, I'm sure I did a little bit of change up on it. Got the Ford heads on it, but supercharger. I think that might have been. It's just a parts box supercharger. I'm pretty sure. Looking at it. Super Ford license plate on the front of this one versus the Moroso on the other. Kool-Aider on the back of it. Kool-Aider, what do you want to call it? Nitrous bottle. And this is the trunk lid. Not too much to it. It's just built the way it is, I guess. Pick up, show the interior here a little bit, the best I can. Oops. Not dropping everything here. A little dusty inside there, I think. But this was always just kind of fun back in the day, just building stuff, however. Keeping it kind of fun, whatever, the best we could. But that's kind of my style at the point in time of what this car was. Kind of a then and now, if you will. But maybe some year, like I say, I'll pull it apart and repaint it or build another. But anyway, like I said, let me know what you think. Or as far as your what you guys have done, if you still have your first glue together, or what, if you don't have it, what was it? Just leave in the comment down below. Tell us what you had as your first glue together. Kind of reminisce a little bit on the good days of modeling. Not that today's not good times, but back in the day it was always a little bit better, I think. But as far as what we did with them and such, but not saying it's not fun now, because it is, but I think it was a lot funner back in the good old days, building models. A lot less worries back then, I can say that. But yeah, let me know if you guys buy and collect survivors, keep the survivors, and then let me know if you guys still have your first glue together. If not, what was it? Let us know. It'd be kind of cool to see what your first builds were. Kind of so. I'm having a heck of a time talking tonight. Sorry about that. Been a long day today. Been a long week. And yeah, it's probably I'm sure you've probably seen the little hot rod sitting in the back. We'll get into that on a later point in time, along with the Milner rail in the back. Still working on the Milner rail. Got headers to do yet, steering, and then the decal over top of the footwell cover. I'll talk about that. I've got the Milner coupe sitting here off to the side too, so I'm going to pair those two together in a video here coming up, and hopefully this weekend I'll get the Milner rail done, finished up, wrap it up, and I can get started on my 53 Ford pickup truck again over here. Got a couple other cars I want to pull out and show a little bit too. I was talking to Uncle Tom from Ramblers 69 channel about a project that he's worked on and done, the Gold 30 hot rod that he did, Malay hot rod, or 32 Ford coupe hot rod that he did. I like the colors on that, and I told him I was building a hot rod pickup truck kind of along the lines, but I was going to paint it purple with white, chrome chassis and everything. But I'll pull that out and do a video on that too. But anyway, rambling on here, talking. But yeah, let me know as far as what y'all had or built for your first car, and if you guys collect survivors or not. With that in mind, we're going to cut it off here. We'll cut it short so we can get this one out tonight. Take care, everyone. Have a good night. We'll see you on the corner. Like and subscribe if you would, please. Thank you. Bye-bye.